No, stop! Please, just not today. Don't take this car today.
It was early morning. The rain had just stopped. Cold California air drifted slow between the glass towers of Silicon Valley. Right out front of NovaCorp headquarters, a black SUV came sliding up to the main gate. 3 security guards moved at the exact same time, and that's when it happened. No! Stop! A young black girl, soaking wet sneakers and all, ran right in front of that car. She was gasping for air. The cuffs of her hoodie were worn down to threads, and clutched tight in her hands was one old, beat-up brown envelope. "Stop right there!" A security guard grabbed her arm, but she held her ground, like someone who knew that if she let go, it was all over. "Please, just not today. You can't get in that car today." Everything went still for a second. Even the lobby staff stopped in their tracks. The SUV's back door opened slowly. Out stepped a man in a black suit. Park Jun-hyuk, 44 years old. Founder of NovaCorp, the man American media called the most successful Asian American CEO in the game. He didn't say a word, just looked down at the girl. Cold eyes. The kind of distance that only comes with that level of success. "I'm so sorry. We'll handle this right now." But Jun-hyuk raised his hand, stopped her cold. His eyes moved to that envelope in the girl's hands. "Why'd you block my car?" Lily's lips started to tremble. She swallowed hard, more than once. "Your car, it's dangerous today." The guards exchanged a look. To them, she was just some street kid talking nonsense. "Who put you up to this?" "Nobody." Her eyes were filling up. I couldn't watch somebody die." And just for a split second, Jun-hyuk's expression cracked. Just for a split second. "Markers." "Yes, sir. Clear the way." Lily thrust that envelope forward. "Just look at this. Please." The brown envelope, soaked from the rain, edges worn thin, the kind of thing that'd been held onto for years. But Marcus snatched it first. "No!" A photograph slipped out and hit the ground. A young black woman and a young Asian man, both smiling wide. Jun-hyuk's feet stopped. His eyes shifted, just barely. But they shifted. No way. But the photo was already in a guard's hands. "Sir, you're going to be late." Jun-hyuk shut it all down. Blank face again. "Let's move." The engine hummed low and smooth. Lily ran. Skidded right onto the wet asphalt, dropped to her knees. "No! Stop!" She grabbed the hood with both hands. 2 guards rushed her at once. "Pull her out now!" They grabbed her shoulders and shook, but she would not let go. "Somebody went under that car last night." Everything went quiet. Jun-hyuk's eyebrow moved, just a little. "In the parking garage. I saw it with my own eyes." Her breathing was all over the place. But those weren't the eyes of a scared kid. Those were the eyes of someone who had seen something real. She's not putting on a show. But the window went up anyway, and the car started to roll. Lily's fingers slipped off the hood. The car rolled right through the gate. "Please, just believe me." Her voice dissolved into the rain-soaked street. People on their way to work glanced over, kept walking. Nobody stopped. Marcus picked the photo up off the ground. The woman in the picture was beaming. "Who is this woman?" Lily didn't answer. She just snatched that photo and pulled it close to her chest. "Mum, please tell me I'm not too late." One tear finally broke free, hit the cold asphalt. And then that black SUV stopped dead in the middle of the road. The driver's face went white. Jun-hyuk slowly looked up. A warning light was blinking red on the dashboard. Security vehicles circled fast. "Sir, we'll get another car ready." But Jun-hyuk didn't answer. That girl's eyes were still stuck in his head. Coincidence? Lily Washington, 15 years old. Sunrise Home. A group home on the outskirts of San Jose. That was the only label the world had ever put on this girl. An old 2-story building. One hallway light that never stopped flickering. Lily had the room at the very end of the hall. Diana had passed away 3 years ago. Breast cancer. 12-year-old Lily had held her mother's hand all the way through the night. Lily. Don't you ever think you're alone. And when you turn 12, open this. Diana pressed one worn brown envelope into Lily's hands. On her 12th birthday, Lily opened the envelope. 3 letters and one old photograph inside. The man in the photo was a young Asian guy. On the back, someone had written in neat, careful handwriting, Jun-hyuk, San Francisco, spring 2007. This man. He's my dad. The first line of the letter went like this. Lily, don't go looking for your father. Not just like that. She sat with that sentence for a long time, and then her hand stopped at the next part. But if you ever find out he's in danger, then you can go. That was a week ago. Lily had signed up to clean at Novacorp. For the money, yeah, that part was real. But that wasn't the only reason. Park Jun-hyuk. She just wanted to see that name up close. 3 nights ago, Lily was finishing up in the parking garage when she heard them. Tomorrow goes as planned. You sure? Just don't mess it up. A man in a mechanic's jumpsuit slid under the SUV. Lily's heart started slamming. Eric scanned the garage real slow. Lily stopped breathing. All done. Leave no trace. Her mother's words started echoing in her head. Mum, this is what you meant. On the bus ride home that night, plenty of empty seats. But Lily stood the whole way. She thought about going to the police. But who's going to believe her? A black girl from a group home. No evidence. Nothing. I have to stop it myself. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. She read the letter again under her covers, and she stared at that young face of Park Jun-hyuk for a long, long time. Are you actually a bad person? Or are you just someone who ended up alone? And then the next morning, Lily walked out of Sunrise Home at 5 o'clock in the morning, her mother's envelope in hand. That's how she ended up right there, right out front of Novacorp. A black SUV came pulling up to the gate. Lily wrapped her shaking hands around each other tight. And then, from somewhere down the road, the faintest little electronic beep rang out. Hold on. Stop the meeting. Every executive in that room looked up at once. Park Jun-hyuk was standing at the floor-to-ceiling window. Down below 43 floors, the Novacorp entrance. That was the spot where the girl had been standing not long ago. Now there was nothing but wet pavement. You can't get in that car today. That shaky voice kept ringing in his ears. Have the car re-inspected. Right now. What? Right now. Do it. Fall of 2008. Park Jin-hyuk was a first-year grad student at Stanford, 29 years old, scraping by on scholarships and part-time jobs, renting a rundown studio near campus. In winter, cold air seeped in right through the window cracks. He used to put in only half the seasoning packet in his instant noodles just to stretch it. He met Diana in the library, 2 in the morning, finals week. A girl was standing at the vending machine counting her change over and over. How much do you need? I'm fine. I'll just get water. Jun-hyuk put in his coins without another word. They stood there in silence while the coffee dropped. Just 30 seconds. But somehow, Jun-hyuk never forgot those 30 seconds. Diana Washington, 23, senior year, sociology. Grew up in the projects in Oakland. Both of them were flat broke, but they both had something to chase. That quiet little moment at the vending machine, that's how it all started. Even years later, after all the success Jun-hyuk would get, these strange flashes of memory. Diana cutting a sweet potato in half for the 2 of them. The bottom of the pot was burned, a little charred. She'd turned the burnt side toward herself. They had no table, just sat on the floor and ate. Why do I still remember that? But it couldn't last. Spring of the following year, Jun-hyuk's parents flew in from Korea. His father, in Sick Park, was a man who lived by appearances above everything else. The night his parents first met Diana, his father barely said 10 words at dinner. End it with that woman. Jun-hyuk couldn't find a single word. Being poor, sure, you can feel sorry for someone for a minute, but you don't make it family. Jun-hyuk's hands slowly curled into fists. If I had just said something, anything. One night, Jun-hyuk sat down in front of Diana. You have to go, don't you? Diana had clearly already cried. Her face told the whole story. I'm sorry. You need to make it. At least one of us should. He never once reached out to stop her from letting him walk away. There was something Diana never told him that night. The moment she'd been staring at a pregnancy test alone in a gas station bathroom, crying into the sink for what felt like forever. When you love someone, sometimes you have to let them go. She placed her hand on her stomach. The morning Jun-hyuk flew back to Korea. Departure terminal at the airport. Diana had come alone. No flowers. No words trying to hold him back. She just stood there, and she watched his back until the gate closed behind him. The following spring, Lily was born. Diana was alone in the delivery room. A nurse placed the baby in her arms. Such a tiny, tiny face. Lily. Your name is Lily. And for the first time, Diana laughed out loud. Diana worked the school cafeteria during the day and a supermarket register at night. Always tired. Never enough money. But in front of Lily, she always had a smile. Mummy doesn't even like chicken breast. That was her favourite. She loved it. Park Jun-hyuk came back to the States at 32, had a big falling out with his father, left. All he had, $30,000 in savings. He built NovaCorp with that, and somehow he made it work. Diana got her diagnosis when Lily was 10, stage 3 breast cancer. I have a daughter. If I don't do treatment, how long do I have? Diana nodded slowly when the doctor answered. That winter night. After Lily fell asleep, Diana sat alone at the kitchen table. She pulled out 3 sheets of paper and wrote the first line. Lily, don't go looking for your father. Not just like that, but if you ever find out he's in danger, then you can go. Back to the present. NovaCorp, 43rd floor conference room. Not a single word of that meeting was getting through to Jun-hyuk. I couldn't watch somebody die. That voice kept coming back. Why? Why does that girl's face look so much like Diana's? And right at that moment, sir, they found something under the vehicle. The whole conference room froze. And for the first time in a long time, Park Jun-hyuk felt something he hadn't felt in years. Fear. Sir, we found an issue with the vehicle. Park Jun-hyuk's hand gripped the phone tight. The braking system. Underneath the car. Evidence of deliberate tampering. Jun-hyuk set the phone down slowly. That girl was right. That girl from this morning. Find her. Now. Right then. Lily was sitting on a bench in the small park across from NovaCorp. Backpack on her lap. She was hungry, but she wasn't leaving. She pulled out her mother's letter. Then you can go. Use your voice. Just one more shot. That's all I need. Marcus walked up. I'm not here to mess with you. The boss wants to see you. He said, come inside. Lily studied his eyes real slow. Those weren't lying eyes. For the first time, Lily walked through the front doors of NovaCorp. Worn backpack. Beat up sneakers. She knew she didn't belong here. She knew that. The elevator stopped at 43. Mum. Look how far I made it. Park Jun-hyuk was standing at the conference room window. Who did you see under the car? Eric Choi. 3 nights ago. In the parking garage. Jun-hyuk's face went hard. What else did you hear? Lily laid it out one piece at a time. The mechanic's jumpsuit. The thick envelope. The metal sounds from under the car. Just don't mess it up. Jun-hyuk pressed his hand to his forehead. Why'd you come warn me? You knew it was risky. Anybody would have done it. Lily swallowed. At least that's what my mum always said. Your mum? Something moved behind Jun-hyuk's eyes. What's your mum's name? Lily didn't answer right away. Instead, she reached into her backpack and pulled out that old brown envelope. Set it carefully on the table. A photograph slid out. A young Park Jun-hyuk and Diana, both smiling big. Where did you get this? My mum left it for me. Jun-hyuk flipped the photo over. Jun-hyuk. San Francisco. Spring 2007. Diana's handwriting. Your mum's name. Diana Washington. She passed away 3 years ago. Jun-hyuk's eyes went still. Somewhere out there in all that California light, Diana had given birth alone, raised a child alone, and then left this world alone. Jun-hyuk opened the letter. Lily. Don't go looking for your father. Not just like that. And he read all the way to the last line. His name is Park Jun-hyuk. And Lily, you are his daughter. Diana, you carried this alone for 15 years. For the first time, Jun-hyuk really looked at Lily, Diana's eyes, and his own. How old are you? 15. The math didn't take long. The year he'd walked away from Diana. Jun-hyuk called Jenny over, said something low, just a few words. Jenny's face went stiff. You don't leave this building today. You understand me? Lily nodded without a word. Right, then footsteps in the hall. Eric Choi. Jun-hyuk. Got a minute? Jun-hyuk looked at him, same face as always, on the outside. But behind those eyes, something different. Wait a second. Eric's gaze landed on Lily one more time, and the conference room door clicked shut. One man chased his dream and made it big. One woman raised that man's child, all by herself. And then, 15 years later, that child showed up to save her father's life. Eric. Come in. Eric Choi pushed the conference room door open. Same smile as always. But the eyes weren't smiling. Who's the kid? Jun-hyuk didn't answer. Sit down. Jun-hyuk set a manila envelope on the table. Where were you 3 nights ago? Home. Why? We pulled the parking garage security footage. Eric's smile tightened just a fraction. 2 photos slid out onto the table. Eric Choi and a man in a mechanic's jumpsuit. A thick envelope changing hands on camera. Crystal clear. You're seriously taking this kid's word for it? She's from a group home. The air in the room went cold. At least, she acted more like a decent human being than you did. Eric's face went still. She acted like someone I lost would have. Lily's breath caught in her throat. Jun-hyuk pulled out the financial documents. 3 years of corporate account transfers. You were head of internal audit. Let the 2 of us talk. Without the kid. And right at that moment, 2 investigators walked in. Jun-hyuk. Wait. We go back 12 years. 12. Jun-hyuk didn't answer. Eric looked at Lily, but Lily didn't look away. Eric held out as long as he could, but his shoulders dropped slow. His footsteps echoed down the hallway, and a 12-year partner was gone, just like that. The 2 of them were alone in the room. Jun-hyuk picked up the photograph. A young Diana, smiling. His thumb stopped right there on her face. Was it hard for her? Lily nodded slowly. At the end. What was it like? Lily thought about that morning, the one when her mother's hand went cold. My mum waited for you right up until the very end. Jun-hyuk didn't move. Until her last breath. Jun-hyuk's eyes went wet. A 44-year-old man was crying without making a single sound, like someone who had lost 15 years, all in one moment. A while later, Jun-hyuk wiped his eyes on the inside of his sleeve, like someone who really didn't want to get caught. He looked at Lily. Not calculating. Not afraid. Would you be willing to take a DNA test with me? Lily held her breath for a moment. I know it's late. Whenever you're ready. I'll get the hospital appointment set up for tomorrow morning. By evening, Lily was finally on her way back to Sunrise Home. On the bus. Mum. I did it. One tear slipped down, but it wasn't cold. That night, Park Jun-hyuk sat alone in his living room, Diana's photograph in his hands. Diana, did you really not trust me that much? Nobody answered. The morning the DNA results came in, a thin layer of fog sat low over San Francisco. Park Jun-hyuk stood alone by a hospital hallway window, an unopened envelope in his hand. This was a man who'd signed thousands of contracts without flinching. But today was different. His fingertips were trembling just barely. Lily was sitting quietly in a chair at the end of the hall, brand new sneakers on her feet. Jenny had brought them over yesterday, but Lily kept her eyes fixed on those shoes, like she wasn't sure she deserved them yet. She's still making herself small, still afraid to take up space. That thought hit Jun-hyuk somewhere deep. A doctor came walking up from the end of the hall, handed Jun-hyuk a white envelope. Go ahead and take a look. Jun-hyuk stared at that envelope for a long moment, then slowly pulled out the paper. First line, second line, then the last one. Probability of biological relationship, 99.999. Junhyuk's eyes slowly closed. He already knew. But knowing it and reading it, those are two very different things. Lily stood up carefully. Mr. Park. She still couldn't say Dad. Not yet. Junhyuk couldn't find words either, but he walked toward her slow. I'm sorry. Lily's eyes shook. I didn't even know you'd been born. I'm so sorry for leaving you alone all this time. Junhyuk's voice broke at the end. This was a man who had never broken down in front of anyone. But today was different. Lily couldn't find words either. She just held tight to her backpack straps, and then barely above a whisper. My mum told me something. She said not to hate you. Junhyuk's eyes went still. My mum was on your side. Even at the very end. And in that moment, Junhyuk bowed his head. He couldn't look at her anymore. A few days later, Junhyuk visited Diana's grave for the first time. A quiet hillside in a small cemetery. Nothing fancy, just still and simple. He stood there for a long time without saying a word. Just the sound of the wind passing through. The headstone had just her name, Diana Washington. Junhyuk's hand moved slowly, stopped right on that name. How scared must you have been, all alone like that? His eyes were filling up again. Why didn't you ever tell me? But there was no answer, because it was already too late. Lily walked up beside him. She had one small white lily in her hand. Mum loved lilies. Lily laid the flower down in front of the stone, and then very carefully she smiled. Mum, I'm not alone anymore. Junhyuk felt his breath stop for just a second. Those words landed like joy that had shown up just a little too late. An autumn breeze swept across the hillside. Junhyuk reached out and took Lily's hand, real slow, like he was afraid she might break. Lily didn't pull away. Small hand, but warm. A few months later, Lily started at a new school. Everything felt strange at first. The big house, the wide room, even a home-cooked dinner every single night. All of it was new. But Junhyuk took it slow. He didn't push. He knew when you've missed that much time, you've got to fill it in gently. One evening, Lily stood in front of the dinner table for a long time. Hey, what's going on? Lily asked in a real small voice. Is it really okay for me to be here? Something in Junhyuk's eyes went soft. Of course it is. This is your home. Lily couldn't lift her head for a while after that. That night, Lily opened her bedroom window. The San Francisco skyline glittered far off in the distance. She reached for the letter she'd kept close to her all this time. And read the last line one more time. Use your voice. Lily smiled just a little. Mum. I'm here. The starlight outside shimmered quiet, like someone was smiling down at her from somewhere far, far away. Sometimes people figure out love way too late. And some kinds of regret, they just never fully go away. But even so, there are days when you get to reach out and take that hand again. Diana was gone. But the child she fought to protect, right up until her very last breath, she wasn't alone anymore. This story is a work of fiction.